Hi, everyone. Welcome to Medicine Buddha. My name's Karen Ziegler, she, her pronouns. And, I feel like I've been doing the tech for Medicine Buddha for like 3 years at a 5th grade level, and we've survived. So welcome to the practice of Medicine Buddha. This is a community-led evening. Last summer, when Lama Rod knew he couldn't be here every single week, instead of just referring us to the recordings, and I know we all watch the recordings a lot, I watch the recordings a lot, he realized that we all kind of count on Monday night being together and doing this practice. So, he asked community members to help with that. So I'm here tonight, and there'll be others. He'll be away for 2 more weeks, and he'll be back on February 27th. And I have a little piece of news in a minute, but I just want to welcome everyone again, especially if you're here for the first time. Let us know if you're here for the first time, or if you're new to Medicine Buddha practice or practicing with Lama Rod. Just welcome, and thank you so much for being here. I'm one of those people who counts on being in this community doing this practice every week. So I just have to tell you this. Eric just told me the reason why Lama Rod was suddenly called away unexpectedly tonight, we knew he would be away next week, is because remember how we've been praying for his sister who was about to have a baby. She had her baby a little earlier than was expected, but the baby's fine, she's fine, and he's with his sister and the baby. So I hope someone will we'll just remember to pray for him and the baby and his sister. So a lot of joy about that. Yeah. So I love this practice of Medicine Buddha. It's a tantric practice. And, I'm a person who was practicing Tantra in the Vedic tradition for like decades. And it wasn't until I started practicing and was practicing for a number of years with Lama Rod that I realized that I had been doing tantric practice. And I began to understand kind of what it is. And one of the things that's characteristic about tantric practice is that we're moving energy. Recently, a couple weeks ago, Lama Rod initiated us into the mantra that we've been chanting for a couple of years now, or maybe some of us much longer, the Medicine Buddha mantra. And he told us to recite it 100 times a day. And he gave us instructions on how to do it with a mala. I have my mala here. And explained that there are 108 beads on traditional malas, so that if you miss a few, you're still doing 100. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about my experience with this practice, because I know that all of us who are doing this are having different experiences with it. But something that I find is that I don't always say this mantra out loud. But when I do, sometimes I have the experience of really the energy moving through. I experience it as a certain pressure, a certain release. And what drew me to this practice is really Lama Rod. Because my experience of being with him is that he's a very powerful teacher. And in the tantric, both Vedic and Buddhist practice, the teacher is really important. There's a certain place that we get to that we can't get beyond without a teacher. And I experienced this a couple times in my life. The first time I'd just been beating my head against the wall for years and years and years. And then I found a teacher who was a guru in India. Definitely I didn't want a guru in India. But what I experienced touching her energy, even though she was in India and I was in the United States, was that I was meeting the mother. And And it just knocked my socks off, even though it was such a soft, huge, expansive energy. It changed everything for me. And that's what a teacher can do. And because I experienced, really, I have to say, my experience was that I didn't know I was a motherless child until I experienced that energy. And then I was no longer a motherless child because I was feeling the energy of the mother. And it's always been there ever since. Like, part of that experience was that weeks later, I realized that I didn't have a sense of dread. And then for the first time, I realized that every single day for my entire life, I had woken up in the morning and gone through the day just surrounded by dread. And it never came back. It never came back. And somehow this teacher was able to shift that just because I was open to receive it and surrender to it. One of the things that I believe Lama Rod has said, somebody said it, I'm sure it was him because I only write notes when he talks, but I think what he said was that it is surrender that is the fuel of the spiritual path, surrender. And of course, we have to be really careful what we surrender to and who we surrender to. But it is a surrender game. So when we sense an energy like that, the energy of the mother and the energy of medicine Buddha, which is, I experience as a little different, but it's kind of unmistakable, to surrender to that because it's really not something other than who we are. It's really what we're experiencing is our inner self, our inmost self. And that's why often in this practice, we get to the point where we say, I am medicine Buddha. So in this tradition and in other tantric traditions, like we have guru yoga, which is that we are looking to the teacher, or we are looking to the deity, and we're realizing that we are the same. And this mantra that we've been practicing, Om Teata, Om Bekatsi Bekatsi, Maha Bekatsi, Raza Zumungati Soha. This mantra is not only powerful because it's been practiced for thousands of years. I don't know how long, actually. I have no idea, but a long time. It's been practiced for a long time. But also because this particular teacher of ours has given it to us. And so it's an alive mantra. It's an alive mantra anyway, but we are part of his lineage, and he has given it to us. Lama Rod has given it to us in a particular way, and that's called initiation and transmission. So I know many of us, it's been so good to see you all. It's so good to see you all. I know, I just have to say that, just as an aside, this teacher that I'm telling you about, who was my teacher from about 1989 for about 20 some years, I never had a conversation with her, not one conversation. She never knew my name. And I was completely devoted to her. And I'm not sorry. I mean, it was an amazing whole thing. I learned so much, and I traveled so far in meditation, but it taught me that we don't have to be having conversations in person with our teachers. There's, a real authentic awakened teacher, they're just there. They're just there, and you don't have to see them in person. But all this is to say that if you're near Atlanta, I'm sure Eric will put the link in because he's so good at putting in links. If you're near Atlanta on March 4th, there's a one-day retreat with Lama Rod. So that just came out from Bumis Parsha. And I'm seeing on the screen people who were at the retreat with him at Southern Dharma, people who were at the retreat with him at Natural Dharma over the summer. And so we share something so beautiful, all of us who have been doing these practices with him, whether in person or on the internet. It's just as profound. It's just as profound. So we're doing these practices tonight and every Monday night together because we're connected, and there's something very beautiful about seeing each other's faces and remembering the experiences that we may have had together. So really, really, really want to welcome you all. Okay. So it's been a rough time on planet Earth lately. My work, I retired from my work as a nurse, and now I work as an activist and an organizer for about the last 6 or 7 years. About the same amount of time as I've been studying with Lama Rod. And I don't think that I could have continued this work if I didn't have a teacher who really understands activism and isn't really seeing and feeling and processing and metabolizing all the things that are going on in the world and the country in the way that he is doing. Sometimes I go to retreats or I sit with other Buddhist teachers and they say things like, oh, those activists, they're just awful. They're just, they're just so resentful and angry. But I feel like what Lama Rod does is help us process all those feelings that of course we're going to have, So we are all waking up, and all of us who are here on this path, who are doing this tonight, have been doing a lot of work for a long time, and we've been waking up for a long time, and we've been practicing, I bet, all of us for a long time, one way or another. And I've started to really kind of buy what Lama Rod says about it's probably been lifetimes and lifetimes that we've been doing this, and we've probably been doing it together for lifetimes. But anyway, something that I see is that, and it's something he said like last week or the week before, and it just was so helpful to me. Lama Rod talked about how, so we wake up, and these are not exact words at all, but this is what I got from him. We're waking up and we're really understanding that people are suffering. Maybe we're suffering, but we're also really seeing how people are suffering and dying and being killed and all the ways that people suffer. And we see the injustice, and we see the systems of violence, the white supremacy, misogyny, homophobia, capitalism, colonialism. It's like all the systems that all seem to fit together. And we wake up and we wake up and we wake up. And the more we see, the more we see. And what I realize among my friends who are also activists is that if we don't, at that time when we're continuing to wake up, because we don't go back to sleep ever. The more you see, you can't stop it. If we don't touch it and ground ourselves in something bigger than ourselves, with a teacher, or, I feel like after a certain point, it's got to be with a teacher. We just go crazy. We try to do a lot of things, and we can't fix the world. It's the carceral state. It is what it is. We can do a lot, but we really undermine ourselves when we're just trying to do it all, when we're trying to feel like we can fix it. We have the prescription. We know exactly what people need to be doing. We know what the Congress needs to be doing. We know what the voters need to be doing. We know what our neighbors need to be doing, and they're not doing it. And that just doesn't work. It doesn't work. So what I find in being grounded in this practice, and other kinds of deity practice in this tradition and with this teacher, is that I can face it. I can keep facing it, and it doesn't drive me crazy. Because I know that this is not the only thing going on. I know that in the unseen world, when we act in this world, we're also acting in the unseen world, and that beings in the unseen world are always reaching for us to help us. And then it kind of gets back to surrender. So we have to allow ourselves to be helped. We have to ask for help and allow ourselves to be helped. And it's so interesting because I used to be a pastor, and I was talking to a friend who's another pastor, and she was really excited because she's doing this great thing, which is prayer. And she was saying, if everyone would pray for an end to AIDS, she works for an AIDS agency, AIDS would end. And I think about this with homelessness too. I think, what if every single person in the country starts praying that homelessness would end? So prayer, like this practice of medicine Buddha, does move energy. It does. It's powerful, powerful intention. And so it's kind of funny to me that after all these years, being a Christian for so many years, being a pastor, that what this teacher, my last teacher, best teacher, my favorite teacher, is leading me to every single week is prayer, which he says is the most essential technology right now for us. And so, I don't always know how to talk to my friends who are activists about this. I don't. But I feel like having a practice community like you all that is facing into what's really happening in the world, not dissociating from it, not complaining about it most of the time, although we do complain about it, but really just allowing ourselves to look at it and hold it, and we experience it, and then we let it go, because the next experience will come, and the next experience. And so what we do in this practice every week is we practice, we meditate, we chant, we pray, and that's what we're going to do tonight. And we're going to end with a closing prayer. May our practice benefit all living beings. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I've always been into candles, but I'm especially into candles now. That's another thing that Lama Rod has taught me. So I'm going to light this candle. And if you have a candle to light, or it's okay if you just want to imagine one. And sometimes I just sort of wave it around all of my little deity icons here. All of us are up against so much energy that is so discouraging, and that may be trying to kill us, some of us, but we are all filled with light. We are all beings of light, and we are, each and every one of us here, powerful beings of light. And one of the ways that I've learned to, I've learned to operationalize that is by this practice of bringing in the light. But I just want to say, I went to talk to my Republican state rep today about homophobic, transphobic bills they are trying to pass. Ocean Ray put this in the chat. Thank you very much. And my strategy was pray, baby. Thank you. This is in Tennessee. Yes, yes, yes. So in state after state, there are these terrible anti-gay, anti-trans bills. Who knows what will be next? But apparently the strategy is to try to pull out all the anti-gay, anti-trans bills first. They're going to come after all of us. But I testified to a couple committees at the North Carolina General Assembly about our bills this week. And yeah, I was really connected to this practice when I was doing that. You know, I felt like the ground was under my feet and the ancestors were with me, and Harriet Tubman was with me. And you know, it isn't that I think we can stop these bills. Most of them we probably can't stop. It's not about that. I'm seeing that we just have to show up in whatever way we can. And that varies widely, because if you're raising kids and you're working full time, forget it. But in whatever way we can show up, even if it's just showing up with our prayers, that is what we're being asked to do, not to try to change the world. You know, who was it who said this thing? We are not here to change the world. We're here to change ourselves. But as we bring in the light into our bodies, as we become the light brighter and brighter, and I think all of us can say that we have become that more and more as we have practiced with a deeper devotion, a deeper surrender. These are difficult words for a long time until we finally find a path that we can trust. The light within us grows stronger as we trust love, trust ourselves, trust each other, trust our teachers, connect with our ancestors. The light that we carry grows stronger. And I see that in all of you. I see it and feel it in myself. So I'm just going to lead a really brief meditation, a guided meditation, and then we'll chant, and then we'll do the prayers. Please put your prayers in the Google Doc. Eric put the Google Doc in the chat, and then we'll do that kind of in the middle of chanting the main mantra. So listen to your body, see how your body wants to be for a few minutes of practice. Just feel your seat or however you're touching the earth, and breathe. And really just surrender to that being held, you know. We're being held by the earth. This ground, this earth is the mother, is a physical manifestation of the mother holding us, holding us, holding us with so much love. And we're just invited to take it in, the being held. We don't have to do anything. We are the light. We are the light. So just kind of check in with your light. How's it feeling? And see if you can allow yourself to take in the light of Medicine Buddha, the light of all of the beings, those ancestors, deities, angels, Buddhas, and bodhisattvas that are part of your circle of care. See if you can relax and be fed. Let that flame that is us be fed by the light. And imagine this flame in your heart growing stronger. We are drawing down the light into our very bodies, releasing tension into the earth. Relaxing because we are safe to take in the love that is offered. Releasing down into the places where we are touching the earth. Invoking Medicine Buddha, the healer, the Buddha who embodies healing, the blue Buddha in front of us, in whatever form works for you, your chosen deity. Just take in the energy of love, however you envision it. Allowing yourself to soften, release. We are Medicine Buddha. We are the medicine. We pray to be the medicine for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. So for just a few more minutes, we're going to rest in this space. And then we'll chant the opening mantra. We're invoking the presence of Medicine Buddha. Or we're praying in gratitude, whatever works right now. Om Minla Sangye Kino So. Chant with me if you want, please. Om Minla Sange Kino Soha. Om Minla Sange Kino Soha. Medicine Buddha, I pray that you know and look upon me now. And now we'll chant the main mantra that we have been reciting. Om Teata. Om Bekatsi Bekatsi, Maha Bekatsi, Raza Zumangate Soha. So we're going to chant Om first, all together, okay? Om. Om Te Ata Om Begete Pegete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Pegete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha. Te Ata Om Begete Begete Maha Begete Rasa Sumangate Soha.
come back to that. We're going to go to the prayers. But I just want to say one thing about chanting a mantra like this, that as we're chanting it or reciting it, what can happen is that the mantra becomes the same as us, and we're really beginning to embody the meaning of the mantra. And I love the meaning of this mantra. I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering. And I release the energy of this prayer out to all the world so that we may all be liberated. And what I wonder is that some of this energy release that that some of us are experiencing with this particular mantra has something to do with releasing the energy of this prayer out into the world. So thank you for your prayers. We're going to say the prayers. So we call upon all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all of our ancestors and spirit guides who are helping us to be free, all of the saints, all of the awakened masters and beings who are our teachers and our guides, whether we know them or not. We call upon you to hear our prayers. Prayers for Lama Rod, his sister, and her very new baby. Welcome to her, to the baby. Oh, don't know the gender of the baby. Welcome to the baby. Prayers for Bryn and her mom as she deals with her own health issues and cares for her mom. Prayers for Jay as she navigates overwhelming grief. Prayers for the WL group. Prayers for the land in Warm Springs and for the land defenders and community there. Prayers for Anna, who is undergoing surgery on Thursday. May she be cancer-free after the procedure. Prayers for her family, that they are supported through this time. Prayers for all my beloveds. Prayers for my benefactor circle. Prayers of gratitude for Ma Kali, that in the end we all return to her and we all belong to her. Prayers for all those young and old that feel the sting of abandonment and suffering alone. Prayers for all those suffering under the unjust criminal justice system. Prayers that B's upcoming court case will be resolved with compassion and with justice for all involved. Prayers for all the Dublinsky family from Argentina. Prayers for all those suffering from the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. Prayers for Linda, that her situation is resolved with ease. Prayers for Anne and Jerry as Jerry transitions to memory care. Prayers for G, may they locate secure housing, heal through immense grief, and sense into clarity for their future. Prayers for all in our beloved communities who are feeling the limitations of not being mirrored in their focus on freedom and liberation. Prayers that the bond we have in our heart communities and our beloved communities proves to be so much stronger than distrust, distraction, and fear. Prayers for all of us fragile creatures. Prayers for Mary Sue as she deals with difficult medical news. Prayers for my dear friend Place, who is navigating trans identity and sharing this with their family for the first time. May they be held and nourished as they continue to travel along their road to freedom. Prayers for Jacqueline and her family as they grieve the recent loss of her father, Mark. Prayers for Rebecca and Leah. Prayers for the Box family as they welcome their new baby. May the birth mother of the child experience comfort and peace. And prayers for the family and friends of Miklos as we remember him on his birthday.
Prayers for Zoe as she grieves the death of her dear cat, Vladimir. May she be able to grieve skillfully. Prayers to my father, who is in bordering stage 4 Alzheimer's. May he, my mother, and I, as his caregivers, have grace in this process and arrive at love, reconciliation, and joy. Prayers for Robert, who left this life last week, and for his family and friends who are mourning. Prayers for my friend as she plans a new chapter in life. Prayers for all sentient beings who are suffering in this chaotic time. Prayers for all sentient beings to find joy, contentment, and liberation. Prayers for Anita, still in the ICU with lung complications. May she find ease and may her family be supported during this challenging time. Prayers for the children recovering from abuse. Prayers for Anne, who at 92 be sheltered from the ills of capitalism. May she be guided with peace and dignity in this stage of her life. I pray that my mom feels cared for, loved, and connected. May her caregivers experience the same. Prayers for all in our community, Sangha, Bhumisparsha, and for all beings seeking to awaken and bring about liberation. Prayers for Shea and Bahira, for Mary and Sam, for Chava, for my children and their children, for myself trying to make some important healthcare decisions, for surrender my anxiety to my teachers and practice. Prayers for the survivor and victims of the Monterey Park shooting. Prayers for the girls and women in Afghanistan who are fighting for their right to go to school and work. Prayers for Heidi and anyone who is a survivor of ritual abuse. Prayers for my Aunt M, who died on Friday from her battle with cancer. For my family as we grieve her loss. Prayers for the family of Tyree Nichols and the families of those affected by the shootings in California. Prayers for the healing of all those who are making others suffer from a place of their own suffering. Yeah, prayers for Nan, Steve, myself, and the family of Shay. Prayers that the queerphobic and transphobic bills in the legislature of mine and many other states do not pass, or pass with amendments that make them much less harmful. Prayers that all trans and queer people have the support and care they need, and that all the people responsible for these bills and their supporters be free and have what they need to not feel like they need to oppress others in order to be free. Prayers for Dasha's family and our Sangha as we grieve their sudden and unexpected death. Prayers for Matt and Carla, who just recovered from COVID. We pray for all of those who are suffering, who are feeling under attack, who are under attack, who are unsheltered, who are afraid, who are overwhelmed. May all of us give ourselves to our practice in such a way that we can pass through this time stronger. Like a refiner's fire, like an alchemy, may we become ever more filled with love, ever more resolved to be free, ever more determined that all beings be free, ever more intending our practice to free ourselves and all beings. May it be so. Like this, I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering. And I release the energy of this prayer out to all the world so that we all may be liberated. Sometimes chanting a mantra, it's like we're in a cave. Mantra is kind of a cave.
can just be kind of in the cave, be surrounded by the energy of it that we're all generating with this chant. So inviting us all to just be in this chant. This mantra is not different from our own self. Om Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha Teya Tao Om Begite Begite Maha Begite Rasa Sumungate Soha. We're going to close with Shanti Deva's beautiful prayer. It's so wonderful to see all of your beautiful faces. When we're feeling alone in the world and overwhelmed by the news or whatever it is that we get overwhelmed by, it's going to really help to remember all of your faces. Okay, this is such a beautiful prayer. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore.
May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. We're going to do that 2 more times. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach to the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your beautiful practice. I can just see all this light shining out of you all. Noah, you have your hand up. Do you want to, did you mean to? Do you want to say something?
It was automatic.
Wow. Well, you know, I think it's going to be all right. I think no matter what is happening around us, there is a place where it is all right, and it is within us, and it is among us. And, it's such a wild prayer, isn't it? May I be the doctor and the medicine for all sick beings in the world. It's such a beautiful, wild prayer. But, there is a part of us. There is a part of us that is that huge love. That is that thing, that is the medicine for all ills, that the deepest part of us. And we all share that. And we all bring that light into the world every day. Okay, Rachel, hi.
So I showed this earlier, but I want to show it again. And so this is actually the name of a documentary about a gospel group called the Branchettes, who are started very near to where you and I live, Karen, and also Sharon. And the woman who started it, she and several other people, Mother Lena Mae Perry, she's in her 80s. And they did a showing of the documentary out at this big park here. And she came with the remaining members of this group. And it was like somebody had to help her get up on the stage and down on the stage. But when she sang, she could have been 20. And so the title of the documentary is Stay Prayed Up. And that's what, that was the point. And this one of the spirituals she sang was, one line of it is, "I don't believe you took me this far to leave me." You probably know it. But anyway, and it's, I think Peter somewhere in the gospel says, "Pray without ceasing." It's like, what else are we going to do? What else is there to do? I mean, there's lots to do, but you know what I'm saying. So anyway, thank you for everything tonight, Karen. It's lovely.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you all. I hope you can all feel like I do, the light that's coming out of your faces and out of your lives. And I really want to thank Eric for holding this all together. We'll keep sending our love to Lama Rod and his family and the baby, and so much gratitude for you all and for him. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please take good care of yourself. Please, you're beautiful. I love you. See you next week.